Ah yes, Ninja Gaiden 3, the easiest entry in the entire trilogy. It even came with a password system, for crying out loud. It was so easy, in fact, that people actually complained about it being too easy. But wait a second. We don't live in Japan. We live in America. Meaning it's actually the hardest game in the entire trilogy. You might be wondering why Tecmo decided to inflict this upon American audiences. Well, it turns out there's a surprisingly mundane reason. Video game rental stores. Publishers were terrified that if someone could rent a game and beat it in 2 days and return it, there would be no incentive to actually buy it. So their solution? Make the American versions brutally difficult to stretch out the playtime beyond a typical retail window. Genius strategy, I must say. Japan never had this problem though. Video game rental stores were straight up illegal there. So they got the reasonable version. The changes Tecmo made were substantial. Everything does double damage, continues are now limited, and they completely removed the password system. This transforms Ninja Gaiden 3 into an absolute gauntlet. So buckle up, as we're about to power through the final NES entry in the Ninja Gaiden trilogy. Ninja Gaiden 3, the Ship of Doom. Let's start with the opening cutscene. Before we continue, don't worry, Irene is not actually dead. Here's the thing, this game actually takes place between Ninja Gaiden 1 and 2. So, she's not really dead, she's gonna have to come back to life before the end of the game. Also, surprise! Turns out Ryu has been framed for murder. And now he has to figure out who the actual killer is. Cue level 1. And I'll be honest, this is a pretty solid opening level. Like all Ninja Gaiden games, it's pathetically easy, but genuinely fun. The lab environment looks cool, though I have some questions about those, whatever those are, in the background. Are they growing fetuses? You know what? I don't want to know. Anyway, the level design holds up well, and there's a new mechanic where Ryu can hang on rails, which is legitimately cool. Oh, and Ryu has a voice now. Every attack comes with a voice line. really compressed and barely illegible. But I appreciate the effort. We fight the first boss shortly after, and it's standard Ninja Gaiden fare at this point. It's super easy and it goes down quickly. And then we get another cutscene. Someone sneaks up on Ryu while he's investigating the lab. Seriously, how good of a ninja is this guy? People are constantly sneaking up behind him. Someone needs to go back to ninja school and graduate the ninja golf course again. Anyway, this mysterious person tells Ryu he needs to investigate some castle in the desert. There are apparently traps involved. The guy also mentions Irene, which is all the motivation Ryu needs, despite having no idea who this person is. Next, we get to level 2. Level 1 was a nice warm-up, but now that you've got the controls down, the game is ready to start kicking your teeth in. The desert section looks easy enough. You fight some enemies, jump through quicksand, rinse and repeat. Though, I'll be honest, I'm not entirely sure what happens if you sink all the way down in the quicksand. And as hard as this game is, I'm not about to find out. The enemies here are relentless though, and I died more times than I would like to admit in this section alone. Then we hit the lava caves, and I need to give credit where it's due. The music here is legitimately the best track in the entire trilogy so far. The Lava Caves theme is phenomenal. Here, take a listen. The actual lava cave section itself, though, is still punishing, but it's not completely unfair. One touch of the lava at the bottom of the level, and you're done. There are platforms to navigate, and then there's this spectacular sequence where the lava is literally filling the room from below you, and you have to sprint and climb upward to avoid it. Surprisingly, this part isn't even that bad. I think I died here maybe once. It's actually one of the easier sections in the level. The boss fight that follows, pathetically easy once you learn the pattern. Shocking, I know. After you beat the boss, we get another cutscene showing Foster on a TV screen behind Ryu. Yep, looks like Foster is our big bad this time around. If you don't know who Foster is, or want his backstory, check out my Ninja Gaiden 1 review. I cover it there. But long story short, it's cool they brought him back. Though this scene doesn't amount to much besides Foster saying, "They'll meet again," and hoping Ryu's still alive when they do. The story is definitely getting more interesting, but we're still in the dark as to where Irene is. And don't give me that she's dead nonsense. We both know this game takes place between Ninja Gaiden 1 and Ninja Gaiden 2, which means she's alive somewhere, probably just tied up in a warehouse, waiting for Ryu to come rescue her before her blood is used to resurrect the Demon Lord. You know, typical Tuesday for Ryu. Okay, so we're in the jungle now. Don't ask me how we got here, we're just in a jungle. It's standard Ninja Gaiden fare. Enemies everywhere, fish jumping out of the water for some reason, tiny platforms you have to parkour across, and the usual consequences for failing, instant death. There's also an underground section with water currents, which is a neat callback to the second game. Then we hit the boss. And look, at this point, I don't even have the energy to be mad at this point. Tecmo brought back the same gimmick from the previous 2 games. 2 bosses show up. Only one of them can actually be damaged, while both can hurt you. It's like they found the formula and decided, why fix what's already hard as hell? I died once, and then once I figured out what was going on, because I'd seen this trick twice already, I just wailed on the vulnerable one and finished it off with my remaining Nimpo magic. Then we get to the next cutscene, and finally we learn who fought Irene in the beginning of the game. Plot twist, Ryu has a clone, and this guy's got issues. He's got all of Ryu's abilities and can hold his own in a fight. More importantly, thanks to some careless dialogue, we learn that Foster almost certainly created this clone, and is definitely the one giving him orders. The clone guy walks off, tells us he'll be waiting at Castle Rock Fortress, then dramatically runs off. So naturally, Castle Rock Fortress is our next destination. Then we get to level 4. The opening isn't too brutal. It looks like some kind of construction site, though honestly, I'm not entirely sure where we are. Either way, you end up inside this building pretty soon, and oh boy, do I hate this part of the level. The gimmick of this level is spikes. Massive spikes that do 6 points of damage each time they hit you, constantly retracting and extending from the floor. You have to time your jumps and your movements perfectly, which sounds manageable until you throw a bunch of extra enemies on top of it and realize how brutally hard these games actually are. The spike damage is massive, and I died so many times I lost count. Did I mention I hate this level? Also, the game has barely any checkpoints, so dying means backtracking through a whole big chunk of the level again. Yeah, I hate this game. The boss fight that follows is shockingly, pathetically easy. He burrows underground, fires fireballs in very predictable patterns, jumps out, you smack him around for a bit, and the cycle repeats. Nothing crazy. Then after we beat the boss, the guy from the beginning of the game sneaks up on Ryu again. And at this point, I have to ask, Ryu, you're a ninja. A freaking ninja! I thought being aware of your surroundings was like the bare minimum of ninja training. But no, this guy constantly gets snuck up on. Constantly! Honestly, if Foster wanted to kill Ryu, he could just hire a bunch of armed soldiers, walk into his house while he's sleeping, and end this whole thing. With Ryu's level of awareness, that seems like a foolproof strategy. Anyway, the guy explains that his name is Clancy, and he tells us what's actually going on. The short version, the demon we killed in the first game opened a dimensional rift after he died, which started leaking unlimited life energy into our world. Foster got control of that rift and started using it to create bionoids, basically superhumans he can control. That Ryu clone who attacked us earlier was a bionoid. Our mission is now clear. Get to Castle Rock Fortress and shut down Foster's operation before he floods the world with these things. Then we get this genuinely awesome cutscene, and something that at this point is basically a Ninja Gaiden staple, where Ryu looks off into the distance and spots the big bad's fortress looming on the horizon. It's pretty cool. Here, take a look. Alright, now we get to level 5, the castle infiltration. The outside of the castle is genuinely cool. It looks like this weird hybrid of a mechanical dystopia straight out of Final Fantasy VI, or 7 if you're more of dark dystopia, mixed with Castlevanian Gothic architecture. It's an awesome design. Too bad the level itself is brutally difficult. It took me forever to get through it, but when you make it inside, that incredible lava caves theme kicks back in. And it's pretty cool. The second half is actually easier than the first half of the level. Though, if you lose all your lives, you get sent back to the beginning. Still, it's a great area with some interesting design work. There's also these weird little alien War of the Worlds looking things that shoot lasers. Once you figure out their pattern, they're pretty easy to take down. Just crouch, slash, and let them run into your sword. They go down easy. Plus, they can't hit you while you're crouching, so it's a win-win. Then, at the end of level 5, you confront Foster. His plan is straightforward. Kill Ryu, use his corpse to absorb some life energy, seeping out of the dimensional rift, and create a super bionoid. Makes sense, I guess. Then a woman with a machine gun shows up. And wouldn't you know it? It's Irene! She's alive! I mean, we knew she had to be alive. But there she is! Also, Clone Ryu is here. He mutates into this giant monster. Irene opens fire on him with her machine gun. It doesn't work, because of course it doesn't. And now we have to fight the boss. He's no longer recognizably human. He's this weird, grotesque monster thing. His pattern is pathetically predictable. He jumps twice, throws 2 shurikens, flips around the arena, and throws fireballs in a very, very predictable pattern. Yeah, this guy's not hard at all. And after we take him down, we confront Foster. But plot twist, Foster's not the real villain. Turns out, Clancy was using us this whole time to clear Foster out of his fortress. Clancy's got his own plans for the dimensional rift, and then he teleports off somehow through some spatial distortion. Oh, and Foster gets too close to it, and it literally tears him apart. So much for that villain. So Ryu and Irene have a moment together, after Foster gets torn to shreds. Ryu tells her to get to safety while he handles what's left of Foster. Irene doesn't want to leave him, but Ryu explains that only he can survive the portal due to his ninja abilities. She'd be torn apart. She reluctantly agrees, leading into level 6. But before we go to level 6, it's time for an ad. Yes, my game studio has a new game coming out soon on July 4th. Myths and Monsters, a fantasy RPG unlike the likes you've never seen. So, game trailer time. Okay, so we're back. Let's talk about level 6. The first part of level 6 is a nightmare. You're standing on this weird crystallized floor that's slippery like ice, and enemies are swarming you from all angles. What else is new, right? The second part introduces a different gimmick that somehow, I don't know whether it's worse or better, it's just weird. If you stand in one spot for too long on any surface, you fall through it. And if it happens on the floor, you're dead. You literally have to keep jumping to stay alive. It's annoying as hell. Also, what's with these environments? Did we end up in the other dimension or something? Because this place looks absolutely messed up. The second half of the level looks like we're inside some kind of living organism, all fleshy and organic and disgusting. It's cool, but in the most unsettling way. At the end of level 6, we fight Foster. Yeah, turns out he survived. Well, technically he died when we went through the dimensional portal, but the life energy brought him back. Problem is, it mutated him into a giant grotesque monster, which he seems to think is an upgrade. Which, I mean, sure, he's more powerful now, but I don't think he's getting any dates anytime soon. Actually, scratch that. Just hit up a dark fantasy / smut convention. I'm sure you'll do great, Mr. Foster. Anyway, the boss fight is another predictable affair, though it can be a little tricky. His pattern is simple. Fires a fireball, you jump on the wall, he headbutts it, you jump behind him, slash him a few times, and dodge the falling rocks. It's beatable if you got enough luck on your side. Anyway, after we take out Foster, and thankfully he stays down this time, we finally confront Clancy. And man, this guy looks like he needs some oxygen. He's really blue. Either that, or absorbing all that life energy has some serious side effects. Honestly, I'm starting to think absorbing life energy is a pretty bad idea if it turns you into a walking case of body horror. Anyway, Clancy explains himself. He wants the ancient ruins because they're actually an interdimensional warship. So that's what the Ship of Doom in the title is. Nice! Anyway, he raises the ship out of the ground in this genuinely really cool cutscene. And by the way, the warship looks appropriately weird and awesome. Seriously, great cutscene and great warship design. Oh, and then he fires the laser off into the distance for some reason. Oh, and then he opens a trap door below Ryu and sends him plummeting to level 7, the final level. Alright, now we get to the last level, and I'll say this, it's hard as hell. The first half has you landing on the bottom of the ship, and because it's actively flying, there's wind resistance that makes platforming a little tricky. But this section is nothing compared to the next sections. Oh dear God! I fucking hate this game, and I hate this level. When you get inside the ship, everything tries to kill you. There are spikes, electrical hazards, enemies everywhere. Everything wants you dead. It's like they purposely designed this game to be a torture device. Nothing in the entire trilogy compares to this. Nothing! I mean, I guess the inside of the ship is cool, or I would say that if everything inside the ship wasn't trying to kill me. Oh, why did I play these games? Alright, now we get to the final boss, Clancy. And when you finally reach Clancy, he's mutated beyond recognition. Probably from all that life energy he's been absorbing. Oh, and we get his motive here as to why he's doing all this madness. Turns out, he wants to kill all humanity because they fight all the time. No, I'm not kidding. That's his actual motivation. He wants to kill the human race because they fight all the time. I'm just at a loss for words. I am. Anyway, we have to fight the boss, and the first phase actually isn't too bad. Just slash him and keep moving. He throws fireballs and rains lightning down, but as long as you keep moving, you'll be fine. And then phase 2 hits. And alright, somewhere around here. Oh yeah! Yes, I'm about to cheat to high heaven. This is an invincibility power-up. It's from Sonic the Hedgehog. How do I have this? I'm the anti-gamer slayer. That should be reason enough. Now let's kick this boss's ass. Ha-ha! How do you like me now? One of the hardest bosses in video game history? Not anymore! Look, I know it's cheap, but you're talking to someone who beat the original Castlevania and Ghosts and Goblins without cheating. And I just couldn't do it. I could not beat Ninja Gaiden 2 or 3 without cheats. That's how hard these games are. And now I've officially played the entire trilogy, and all I can say is, thank God! This ordeal is finally over! Look, I played this entire trilogy because my buddy loves Ninja Gaiden 4. He loves that game, so I wanted to surprise him with these reviews. That was a mistake. A massive mistake. These games suck. I'm not being hyperbolic. I had to force myself to finish this trilogy. I struggled through every single game, and I'm trying to maintain a consistent upload schedule of noon every Saturday. And to keep that schedule, I'm going to be releasing a compilation video of all 3 of these games next week, so I can take a break, because this was just a nightmare. These reviews sucked. Like Ninja Gaiden 3, I literally had to force myself to finish this trilogy. Oh yeah, the ending. Ryu and Irene reunite, talk about what just happened. Ryu says something about hopefully humanity never destroys itself, and then they watch the sunrise. The end. Now, I will give the series this much. For an NES trilogy, the story is actually pretty decent. The story is not bad. But if you want to experience the story, please just watch the cutscenes on YouTube. It's better for you. Also, if you ever beat any of these games back in the day, especially if you were a kid at the time, please let me know down below, because I'm genuinely curious. Like, why would anyone willingly play these things? Sure, the story's decent, but seriously, why would you suffer through these games if they're so hard? Like, when I play a video game, I want to have fun. And when a game's too hard, it's not fun. I'm not dishing you if you like the game. If you like the game, good for you. Please explain to me down below why you like it. Anyway, I'm done rambling. This is Troy Schultz, the Anti-Gamer Slayer, signing off!